In the last 2 days, DhiWise has launched exciting features for applications UI. But what about the backend and real-time data binding? Let's find it out. Today, we have released how you can add navigations, API integrations, authentication, and lifecycle management to your applications using DhiWise. In this video, I'll show you how you can set up all these things in your Flutter application using our Smart Editor. Let's start with navigation. As you can see, this is my Figma design. Let's say I want to navigate from this sign-in screen to create password screen. So I'll open up my sign-in screen. If you are facing any pixel overflow issues, then you can check out the previous day's videos to fix it. To navigate, select the element from the Smart Editor which should take you to another screen. This has brought us to the code section of the selected element. Since we want to navigate to the Create Password screen upon the on-click of this element, select On-click from the list by pressing Ctrl space. Select Navigation from the list of actions. Enter the navigation function name. This is the function name that you want in your generated code. Click on Submit. This opens up with the type of navigation that DhiWise provides. If dialog or bottom sheet navigation is selected, then all the screens containing dialog and bottom sheets will be filtered and shown at the time of selection. We need to select our desired screen from these screens that are appearing on the right. I want to navigate to another screen, so I'll select Screen Navigation. This will open up with the list of screens on the right side. I will select Create Password screen from here. To finish a screen, click Close All Screens to remove other screens from the navigation stack while executing navigation to that specific screen. Click Close Current Screen to finish on that screen. To pass data like a variable or a field or a list between the screens, click Add Arguments. To add an argument, provide a key name and press Enter. Select the argument type from the list. To pass the API response, select API response from the list, select API and the response to be passed. To pass an argument, select navigation argument. To pass a predefined constant, select the constant from the list, select the file and select the constant that is to be passed. As of now, I just need to navigate to the Create Password screen without passing any arguments. So, I'll save this by clicking Save Changes on the top right. Here, I'm done with the screen navigation with just a few clicks. As you can see, our navigation is set here. Let's look at the back navigation that DhiWise has to offer. DhiWise has auto-detected back navigation on this arrow by setting back navigation property on the on-click event. If you want to set back navigation on some other widget apart from this, then select the widget, select on-click property from this list, now select back navigation from the list of actions. This will automatically set my back navigation. So that's all about navigation. So let's now have a look at the quick and handy feature of API integration in DhiWise. So APIs can be integrated into DhiWise on performing some actions. Go to API integration to add a new API. Click Add New API on the top right to add a new API. There are two ways to add an API. The first one is to import a Postman collection, and the second one is to add an API with either a CURL or by adding an API manually. To import a Postman collection, click on Upload Postman File, click on Select Postman File, select the collection file, click Open. If this collection requires any environment variables, then click on select.env file and select your environment variable file. Again, click Open. Now, to upload the Postman collection and the environment variable file, click Upload File. Here, your Postman collection is successfully uploaded. This opens up with the list of APIs that are present in your collection and will automatically add APIs to the list that is displayed while API integration. For testing the API, DhiWise provides an API runner where you can test the API. Click Add an API to add a single API. This opens up the API runner. Here, you can manually build the API request as well as import a CURL. To import a CURL, click here, select Import CURL, paste your CURL here and click Import. So I have hit my API here to check the response. Let's go back to the previous screen to check our API in the list. Click here on the refresh button to refresh the list. As you can see, my API is added over here. Let's now integrate an API on the click event of the sign in button. Go to the sign in screen. Click on sign in button from the Smart Editor. To integrate an API on the click event, select On Click from the list of events that it provides. Select API integration. Enter the API integration function name and click on Submit. Select the API from this list that you wish to bind. I'll select my login API. Now that the API is selected, I can handle my API's request. Let's have a look at all the available options for selecting the type. The first one is the view, which allows the developer to set dynamic values in the request body by binding them to the input fields. The second option is constant, which allows the user to access the value as set in the constant file. The third one is API response that allows the developer to bind the values obtained from API response. The fourth one is get from preferences, which allows the developers to access the value that is stored in preferences. The fifth one is navigation argument, which allows us to use the passed value from the previous screen to the current screen. To bind dynamic values of username, select View from the drop-down and select the respective widget to bind for the username from the Smart Editor. Let's do the same for password. I can handle the response in a similar manner. There are two options available for this. The first is View, which means binding the response returned by an API to the Smart Editor. The second one is Save to Preference, which enables to save the response field into a file for further usage inside the application. This API does not require handling any response, so I'll switch over towards handling the actions to be performed on successful login. OnSuccess provides the support of navigation, show alert, and API integration. Navigation is used to navigate to another screen from the current screen. Show alert is used to notify the user with messages. API integration is used to integrate another API. This is the concept of nested API. DhiWise supports one level of nested API. To work with nested API integration, follow the same steps of API integration that we are following. Since I want to navigate to the home screen on successful login, I'll select Screen Navigation from the types of navigation. This opens up with all the screens. You can even search your screen or you can select your screen. You can even add your arguments as we have seen before and add your finished screen too. Now, on the on error, I want to display an alert message of invalid credentials. Therefore, I'll select Show Alert from this type from the drop-down. Now, I'll select the type as Alert Dialog. I'll give the title to the alert dialog as Invalid Credentials. Also, I can select the message type. As I want to enter my own message, I'll select Custom Type. Click Save Changes from the top right to save this. As you can see, my API is integrated on the click event of the sign in button. That's how API integration works on the action event. Let's now have a look at the Lifecycle Management feature that DhiWise provides. Lifecycle of a Flutter application refers to how the application will change its state. DhiWise allows performing actions on the onReady lifecycle method. API integration and navigation are the supported actions on the onReady lifecycle. Let's now have a look at how to integrate an API in the lifecycle method. I'll integrate an API on the follower's screen to display the list of users as soon as the screen is loaded. Therefore, click Add on Ready Lifecycle or use the shortcut Ctrl-L. To integrate APIs in the lifecycle, select API integration from the list. This opens up with the list of APIs. I'll select my API from the list. Since this API does not require handling any request, I'll switch towards handling the response. Now, there are two techniques to handle the response. The first one is binding the response to the view and the second one is save to preferences. To bind the response fields with the view, the response returned by the API should be an object, array of objects, or array of strings or integers. Let's bind this response to the view. Select the fields with which you want to bind the view. Select View from the drop-down. This will open up your Smart Editor. Select the widget from the Smart Editor with which you want to bind the field. Similarly, repeat the same steps for all the required fields that needs to be bind with the widget of the Smart Editor. Here, it is not compulsory to handle the actions to be performed on success and failure events. Therefore, I'll skip this as it is not required. Now, to save this, click on Save Changes on the top right. As you can see, my API is successfully integrated in the onReady lifecycle method. Let's now have a look at authentication that is provided by DhiWise. Social authentication allows the users to access the application without going through the tedious process of account registration. DhiWise provides the support of social authentication. Let's have a look at it further. Go to the sign up screen. It is where we are going to perform our authentication. As you can see, DhiWise has auto-detected Facebook authentication. DhiWise has auto-detected Facebook authentication on the on-click event. Similarly, it has automatically set up Google authentication by automatically detecting Google. If authentication is not detected, I can set up authentication manually too on the on-click event. Let's have a look at it further. Select on-click from the list of available actions. Now, select authentication. Enter the authentication function name that you want to give in your generated code and click on Submit after that. This opens up asking you to select the type of authentication that you want to integrate. DhiWise supports Facebook, Google, Supabase and Firebase authentication. For Supabase authentication, it provides sign in and sign up with email and password. For Firebase authentication, it provides Google, Facebook, sign in and sign up with email and password as well. To do Facebook authentication, select Facebook from the type of authentication. On successful login, I need to navigate to the sign up screen. Therefore, on success, I'll select navigation. I'll select screen navigation to navigate to the home screen. Select the home screen from the right. On error, I want to display a message to the user regarding invalid credentials, so I'll select Show Alert. I'll select the type as Alert Dialog and give the title. I'll provide a message regarding retrying. Now, I'll click on Save Changes on the top right to save the changes. And yes, it's done with just few clicks. As you can see, Facebook authentication is successfully set on the on-click event of this widget. Make sure to register your application on developers.facebook.com and copy the app ID and add that to strings.xml file that is located in your source folder of the generated code. Also add a metadata element and activities to androidmanifest.xml. These are the things that you need to take care of and set once your code is generated. Yes, that's it for Facebook authentication. In case while doing Facebook authentication, if version errors are faced, then go to .gradle, update the Kotlin version to 1.4.32 and reinstall the application to check its implementation. Similarly, to do Google authentication, select Google authentication from the types and set the required actions. After the code is generated, I just need to set my client ID in the .env file. To get this client ID, register your application on console.cloud.google.com and create credentials. For Firebase and Supabase authentication, it provides sign in and sign up with email and password. Moreover, Firebase authentication provides authentication with Facebook and Google, which is just the same as what we discussed. But the difference is this will be done by Firebase as a provider. To sign up with Firebase email and password, select sign up with email and password and set all the actions that is to be performed on success and on failure. Once that's done, click Save Changes on the top right. As you can see, your Firebase authentication is successfully set on the onClick event. Once that this is set, all you need to do is set up an email and password in the generated code in the respective screen's controller. Follow the same steps for Supabase authentication. That's it for authentication. So, navigation, API integration, lifecycle management, and authentication are some of the most widely used features which can be implemented with DhiWise with just a few clicks, resulting in saving your time, effort, and cost. How about building an entire application utilizing all these features? Interesting, right? That's lined up next. So, stay tuned.